Now, going back to stress, how do we deal with it? What for acute stress, anyways? How do we deal with stress? What are the best ways that we can arm ourselves in resolving acute stress?
Yeah. So, well, it depends on, or we have to know first our routines. Okay. Well, we have to use certain ways to organize. Okay. Let's say using a to-do list. Or before you start work, you have to write down what are the things that you have to do for the week or for the day. Okay, prioritize it too. So the good, maybe a good thing that we could do is, or to give and set an example, would be a to-do list. Okay, you have it on your phones, your tablets. So there's like a checkbox, and then right beside it would be the task that you have to do, and then write it down, and then try to prioritize it. Start with the simple one, and then work on the difficult task. What if the difficult task is really, you cannot do it in one day? Then try to break it down, okay, to make it things simple, so you won't be getting overwhelmed. Because when you start with a difficult one, there are times that, oh, this is too much for me. I don't want it to work right now. So it may affect your productivity and even your output. You could also do the Pomodoro technique. It's a technique that you could divide your working schedules, like 20, it's a total of 30 minutes. 25 minutes is for work and 5 minutes is for rest. Okay. It's like you're exercising, right? Physical activity. Okay? You cannot just work out for 8 hours in a day, right?
Definitely not. Yeah.
Definitely not, right? But what you're gonna do with Pomodoro is like you need some breaks too. Okay, so it may exhaust you if you're gonna do it like running, right, for entire 2 hours. You need some rest. So that is all the same principle. What you're gonna in terms of physical and even to mental workload.
Okay, interesting.
So you could do the Pomodoro technique like every 3 or 4 times until you have completed a task, or whenever you feel you're exhausted, take a longer break.
Okay.
So, and another technique is to work. You have to assess yourself. What are those coping techniques that you're doing right now, and then figure it out if which one is good, which one is unhealthy. Okay. As we know, unhealthy coping techniques would be eating something sugary, salty, high in calories. What's next would be smoking, vaping, right? Or drinking alcohol or other illicit drugs, right? So, or other coping techniques that is too much. Let's say social media. Right? When we view or use the social media, check on certain let's say Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, that's fine, right?
But social media in itself can be very, how do I say it, detrimental to a person mental health wise, right?
Yes.
What's his name? The guy, Spider-Man, Tom Holland.
Tom Holland.
Just came out on Instagram yesterday and said, guys, I'm stepping away. It's Instagram and all my social media feeds are taking a toll on my mental health. So he'll be stepping away for a while just so he can recenter himself, right? So we're seeing a lot of people have these issues, and I love that Tom Holland came out and said these things, because there's social media in itself. I've seen firsthand how it affects even children, from cyberbullying to them wanting to look like this beautiful, sexy person, but they might not be able to, right? Or even adult women checking on other women or their friends, or what are they doing? Why are they traveling? Things like that. And it just snowballs into something just so negative sometimes.
Yeah. I commend Tom Holland for sharing his condition, and stepping away from the social media is one way to have a good mental health or a break. Well, it also depends on the content and then the stressor. If you think that, let's say, COVID-19 is a stressor for you, then you have to avoid watching certain information and even reading those information. And if you're not, then you would really feel the stress. It would lead to confusion and also anxiety. So it also depends on the content of what you're watching, you're listening, and even reading. Okay, but there are good points also of social media. Let's say people could watch certain short
TikTok.
video.
Let's say information. I love it.
So if it's something funny, then it's something entertaining. It's diverting your attention. But if the content is different, it's somewhat hard, it's somewhat, let's say, deep, something that's maybe you could it's something bad or unpleasant for you, then it may affect your mental health. Okay, and there is what we call a techno stress. Okay, techno stress is the inability to cope with the let's say the technology. So there are two things. One is that we are not able to adapt to the technology, like. I won't be saying the age is one of the factors, okay? But there are certain people who cannot adapt to technology. Let's say Facebook, Instagram, how to log in to register. So that is one of the techno stress. While the other hand, let's say for us, or maybe the Gen Z or Y, is that they are so addicted already with technology. And that could be one of would be detrimental to mental health. Excessive use of technology, even checking on certain phones could be detrimental to mental health. So we need to establish certain boundaries and discipline to help people is to have to check their phones like 1 or 2 times. Okay, or also when they go back to sleep or they're going to sleep, they need to develop some good pre-sleeping routines, not just using their TikTok right before their sleep, okay? Because it could delay their sleeping schedules. And they have to explore to other ways to, beside the social media, is maybe they could watch certain documentaries, or maybe read a book, write down whatever things that they have to they would express themselves. So there are multiple coping techniques or stress reducing techniques that they could do too.
I think social media or being on technology alone can have its own segment, right? There's so much in it today, and it affects so many people, from children to all the way to the grandparents, right? So I'd love to talk just about that too, but we're here discussing mental health and how it affects it. That plays into it as well. Maybe we do a topic on that afterwards. But you were saying earlier on, for acute stress, coming up with just a checklist that you can do, right? And this is something I hear regularly from people talking about mental health, because every time you check something off, there's an effect in the brain and in the mind that gives you this positivity.
Reward.
Right? And every time you're checking something off, that stress kind of goes away a little bit, right? So this is something that I feel I definitely need to do more. Other people journal. The Pomodoro technique is really interesting as well. I think we'd try that, and I'll hope my office would start trying that, because I know I've been putting so much pressure on my staff and all that. They need to find ways to cope with the stress that I put them under. So this is definitely really good insight. So that's one of the 3.